What's up, everyone? Today we're going to go over 5 common mistakes that beginners make when they're trying to wrap their car. So if you're interested in wrapping your car but you're feeling a little intimidated, these tips that I'm about to show you should make the job a lot easier, and hopefully it'll make your wrap last even longer. The first 2 mistakes are very closely related, and it has to do with laying out the vinyl. How is it positioned before you start squeegeeing? If it's not positioned correctly, it makes that job a lot harder than it needs to be. Squeegeeing can be done really fast if you set up your vinyl properly. So I'll show you how to do that. This is the vinyl we're going to be using, so I'm going to position it on the car right now. We'll put some magnets down just to hold it. Unfortunately, the door is not magnetic, so I'm just going to have to position this roughly where I think. We're just going to tack this down right here. We'll roll this out. Take these magnets off. Okay. This is perfectly set up to show a mistake that you should not make as a beginner. Okay, it'll make your job way harder. So let me get my squeegee. Mistake number 1 is not glassing out the film. So what does it mean to glass it out? It means to get rid of as many wrinkles as we can to make the panel look like glass, right? If you think about paint, and when you say paint looks like glass, it looks pretty much perfect. So we want to achieve as close to that look as we can without even taking the squeegee to it. So how do we do that? Well, we have to stretch this, right? We have to pull to get rid of the wrinkles. So just by an example, if I pull here, you'll see some wrinkles disappear, some other ones form. So we want to get rid of as many as we can. This ties directly into mistake number 2, which is not glassing out the film correctly. Sometimes what you'll see from beginners, again, just due to inexperience, they'll take this vinyl, okay, they'll pick it up, this is all fine, and if they just pull, like this, we pulled this way, but we still have wrinkles. Didn't really do anything. And this has to do with your hand position. Okay, where are your hands positioned when you're pulling the vinyl? So mistake number 2 is your hands are not positioned correctly. How do we correct it? Instead of just putting my hands on the edge here and pulling, which just creates more wrinkles, it's better to put them on the edges like this. So now I'm on the top and bottom instead of just the side over here. And instead of just pulling like this towards me, I'm going to try and spread my arms apart while also pulling that way. And you'll see the difference it makes. So if I grab it from here and I just pull towards me, I get big wrinkles that come towards me. So let's change that. I grab up here, I grab down here, and I'm going to separate my hands. I'm pulling them apart and also pulling towards me. So now, all the wrinkles here have disappeared. You can see they're starting to turn this way, right? But this area here is good. If I go back to that side and do the same thing, we can glass out this panel. So I'll come over here, put these magnets away. I'm going to grab here, top and bottom, pick it up, pull my hands apart, and there we go. Oops. The panel is glassed. This door handle here is kind of messing us up. Obviously, that would be taken out if you were actually wrapping it, but these wrinkles are much easier to deal with than what we had at the beginning. I can just simply lift this up, right? That's gone there. Again, the door handle is what's messing this up. This wrinkle down here, well, okay, it's going like this. So that's not that easy to get rid of. I'll just pull here, right? And you can make these fine adjustments, but the main portion, all those wrinkles in the middle you can see are now gone. So that is much easier to squeegee now and will go much, much faster. So if you put your hands on the side like that and you try and pull your hands apart while also pulling towards you, it'll end up like that, which saves you so much time when you're actually trying to wrap the panel. Okay, let's move to mistake number 3. Just giving you guys a bit of a close-up to what this panel looks like. So this has not been squeegeed. Okay, this is just what it should look like before you start squeegeeing it. There's some wrinkles over here and stuff, but that you can see the panel ends here. So you don't have to worry about wrinkles on the edge. But if you look at everything else, it looks really good. Again, the door handle's messing this up. This wouldn't be here if I was actually wrapping it. But from this angle, you can see how good that looks. Okay, that's how smooth it should look before you take a squeegee to the vinyl. It'll make your job a lot easier. We're going to move on to a curved shape because the last 3 mistakes have to do with stretching the film. And you're most often going to stretch the film around curved surfaces. If you see on the door that I did, I didn't really stretch the film. I just pulled it, but I didn't use heat or anything to really stretch it around corners or around edges. I didn't have to do that. But you're going to need to use heat on these compound shapes. Now, what are some mistakes you can make when you start to use heat? I'll show you right now. So we have our vinyl. I'm just going to lay this down. It doesn't really matter how. It's not important. Let's get rid of some wrinkles. What are some mistakes people make when they're heating the film? Number 1 is too much heat. Whatever your heat gun setting is on, if you're just not experienced enough to know how much heat the vinyl can take, this is what can happen if you use too much heat. Heat this up. Okay. And I'm going to stretch. And you'll see how stretchy it gets with the heat, but boom. Stretch too much, and if you add too much heat and you stretch too much, that's what happens. You rip the vinyl. Mistake number 1, be careful with the heat. That just comes from experience. Dealing with the film, like you can feel when it's about to give, how much stretch it can take just by manipulating it over time. But this is what will happen if you use too much heat. And see how quickly it happened? It wasn't like a minute or 2 minutes of heating. That happened very fast. So let's get a new piece. Like I said, the last 3 mistakes have to do with heat and stretching the film. So what happens if I want to stretch around this corner or around this bend so I can cover the edge of the mirror? Let me bring you guys around so you can see. So I want to stretch this around so I can cover the edge of the mirror here. I'm going to add some heat. Right? Soften up the film. And I'm going to stretch it and boom. Right? Perfect. Get rid of those wrinkles. And everything's good. I have the vinyl right at the corner. We're going to let this cool down for a bit, but you'll see once the vinyl is heated up again, it will relax back to its original shape, and its original shape was not stretched. So this has a very high likelihood of peeling back, and that's why you see we call them fingers on vinyl wraps or cards you may have seen around town. That's generally what happened. They stretched to the edge, or they stretched too much, didn't post heat, and then the vinyl peeled back. Right now, this edge is kind of helping, so we got to lift all this stuff off, but this should still peel back a bit. Yeah, see how much the vinyl relaxes there? So it's stuck on here, which is kind of helping, but this would all be trimmed away, right? So your vinyl would pretty much just be like that. Would that make a difference to how it moves? Look how much it shrinks, right? It peels back. You can actually see the edge there. So the beginning wasn't as dramatic because this lens here and the mirror over here were kind of holding it. But once you trim everything away and there's nothing to hold it, it'll just start peeling back and it'll start lifting up. So as you just saw there, the vinyl peeled back. That's because we stretched too much, we stretched to an edge, and when the vinyl wanted to relax, it reverted back to its original shape of not being stretched, and that's causing the areas to peel up. Sometimes stretching is inevitable. You have to stretch around these complex shapes. So how do you stretch safely to make sure the vinyl lasts a long time? There's a way to do it, and there's proper cutting technique when you have to stretch like that. So again, we have our piece here. Let's heat this up. I'll just, whatever, go like this. Okay, again, not important for this part, but we'll heat all this up. We'll lay this down. So our mirror cap is down. Again, it's not the whole cap, obviously. So I've stretched this vinyl. I've stretched it to go around this curved shape, and there's no other way to do it. If the vinyl is just relaxed, it won't go around it. How do I make sure this lasts? How do I not let this peel up in the future. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rewrapping it for the customer. Or if it's your own car, you're going to keep rewrapping it for yourself. So that's it, guys. Those are the 5 common mistakes that I see and the solutions for how to fix them. Hopefully this helps, and thanks for watching.